G'day folks, Rod Moore here from Moore Art School, and welcome to this brief video on our brand new course, Painting Landscapes Level 2. I'm really excited to bring this course because this is for those people who have been through our Painting Landscapes Level 1 course, or perhaps you're already an intermediate sort of artist and you've got a bit of experience in painting landscapes. This course is designed to take your landscape painting from where you're at right now today to another level. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to take a slightly different approach from our Level 1 course. In the Level 1 course, what we did was had you actually paint 4 little landscapes progressively as we went through the program, and then we did one complete landscape at the end. Well, in Level 2, what we're going to do is now go back and we're going to look at each of the elements one by one and drill down into greater detail on how to paint those elements effectively so that you create a realistic looking landscape painting. So we're going to cover things like clouds. How do you do clouds in a lot more detail? And I'm going to break it down into different types of clouds. You know, those clouds that get the big dark shadows underneath? Some of them, like these ones here, are catching the morning light. We're going to break down the different types of clouds into greater detail and give you a number of different exercises to do on how do you paint clouds. From there, we're going to move into the different types of mountains, hills and cliffs and things like that you might normally find in a landscape, and we'll break those down into detail. How do you get your darks and your lights right? How do you put snow correctly on alpine style mountains, you know, the way Bob Ross and Bill Alexander would do? We'll look at that technique. We'll look at the Australian sort of landscape mountains and hills as well, and we'll look at those mountains and hills that are sort of close enough to you where you can see some detail. How do you paint in things like rocky faces and tree lines and things like that, and the different lights and shades that might fall into a mountain? So we'll look at all of that in greater detail. Then we're going to go and look at trees. You know, I've painted a big old gum tree here in this particular landscape, and we've got trees over on the bank of the river here. We're going to look at trees in a lot more detail. We're going to break down Australian gum trees and look at some of the different varieties of those trees, but we'll also look at trees like pine trees and poplar trees and willow trees, oak trees. So we're going to look at a variety of different types of trees. So it doesn't matter what sort of landscape painting that you're doing, you'll know the very basics on how to, you know, to paint a tree in a way where it has enough detail in it to make it look realistic and make it look part of that landscape. Okay. Then we'll come forward, we'll look at buildings. Now I'm going to break down buildings into a lot more detail. We'll look at things like farmhouses, farm sheds, you know, the sheds where they dry the hay. We'll look at all those different types of buildings. We'll look at buildings that are off in the distance in a landscape. So just an indication of those, but more importantly, we'll paint some bigger buildings and houses and things so you can see a lot more of the detail that might go into a typical farmhouse or something like that in a landscape environment. So we'll get into that in a lot more detail. Look at things like the chimneys and getting the light and shade right, putting in things like the doors and so on into that painting. A lot more detail into the buildings than what we looked at in the Level 1 course, and perhaps what you've looked at so far in your journey painting landscapes. We'll come forward and we'll look at all details like grasses, bushes and shrubs, old broken down tree, you know, branches that have fallen on the ground. We'll look at fences, we'll look at gate, you know, what else will we look at? We'll look at the windmills with the water, you know, containers, and a whole host of other elements that you'll find in the foreground, which is what really brings a landscape painting to life. We'll even look at some reflections in the water, so that you can, you know, look at how to do those as well if you're putting in a river or a creek or a pond, something like that. So we're going to cover each of those elements in great detail. That'll be in the first 5 weeks of this new course. In the 6th week, we'll actually then give you a couple of full painting demonstrations for you to go away and complete, where you'll pull all of your knowledge together into those full paintings. And I think by the time you've gone through this course and completed those full exercises, your painting of landscapes will have gone to a whole new level, and you'll start to move from that, you know, obvious hobby artist level to a very good landscape painter. And of course, practice is what makes perfect with any painting, and the more you practice, the better you'll get at it. So in the final week, we'll have a couple of in-depth exercises for you, but I've also got a couple of bonuses for you. As part of our DVD of the Month Club, we've done a number of different landscape paintings. So I'm going to give you one of those full painting demonstrations that we've had in our DVD of the Month Club. It's the Farmer's Cottage from July of 2012, I think it was. That's a full painting demonstration of a lot of the elements that we're talking about here. And I'm also going to give you as a bonus one of the additions from our new TV show, Yes You Can Paint TV. I'm going to give you the full painting demonstration, which might take an hour and a half, 2 hours, of one of our landscape subjects. Now, it's going to be a subject from out around the Geelong area where I live. If you go 20 minutes out to the west there, you're out in the country, beautiful farmlands and so on. And I've been out there and filmed a few episodes for Yes You Can Paint. You're going to get as a bonus, when you join us for the Level 2 Painting Landscapes course, you're going to get a full painting demonstration from the Yes You Can Paint TV show. Now, in the TV show that we're going to broadcast around Australia and internationally, you'll see a 24-minute version of that painting. But the actual painting itself is going to take me an hour and a half, 2 hours. So we're not going to show that on TV, but I'm going to give you one of those full painting demonstrations as a bonus for joining us in Painting Landscapes Level 2. So, summing up, if you're ready to come and really elevate your painting of landscapes to a new level, if you've taken Level 1 or you're already doing some landscape painting and you've got a pretty good handle on how to put together a landscape painting, come and join us in Painting Landscapes Level 2. You'll start to master each of the different elements that you'll find in any good landscape painting, and more importantly, you'll get a number of different exercises that are full painting exercises for you to go away and do. Now, the important thing is, I'm going to give you feedback all along the way. So each week I want you to take photos of your work, what you've done, and send it to me, and I will give you feedback. Now, a lot of you have already been through one of our online courses, and you know that I always try and find a couple of key points for you to be able to improve upon, but I also point out those things that you've done well, which I think is really important. So I'm going to give you in-depth feedback as you progress through this course. And the fact that we structure it weekly means that it makes it easy for you to stay on track. You're only going to need about 2 to 4 hours a week to complete this course. So if you're doing other painting as well during the week, this won't interfere with that. Just keep doing that painting. But this course will actually help you become a better landscape painter. So I hope that you come and join us. You'll see all the information underneath me here. Read through all of that. There's a button down below to sign up, and come and join us for this course. And I look forward to seeing your landscape paintings and seeing you progress as a landscape painter. Cheers for now.